Hello, this is Abby.
Dear Abbey, this is gonna be a long one.
Oh boy.
Dear Abbey, how do you tell the difference between a new exciting crush and a rebound?
Does it matter?
Dear Abbey.
Dear Abbey.
Dear Abbey.
Welcome to our little corner of the internet. This is the Dear Abbey podcast. I hope you stay and hang out with us. See you in a sec. Hey. Welcome back to another episode of Dear Abby. This is your host. My name is Abby, and I'm excited to be here today. I've restarted this episode. This is my second time recording this because I just can't focus very well right now. I've had interview after interview because my mom got mad at me because I said in like a couple episodes ago that I got fired. I didn't get fired. They're basically doing cuts because I'm the only one that doesn't work in the same state as them because I've been working remote for a long time and they want everyone to be in the same state. So if I wanted to move to Utah, I could go there and work for the same company, but I don't want to move to Utah, so I'm going to stay here. However, because I am staying here, I need to find another job. Hopefully one that's remote because I think if it's 9 to 5 and not remote, I will be exhausted. I don't know how I'll show up to the podcast, but a lot of people do it, so we'll see how it goes. I'm unfortunately a decent interviewer, and that's because I do a ton of studying, a ton of research on the business, a ton of research on, honestly, myself and my experience and what I go over what I should say, and not just like trying to be fake about it, but really like what will I remember when they ask a question because it's actually true. And sometimes, though, you need to remind yourself of your past experience. Ugh, I'm so boring right now. That's what I've been doing, and it's not very fun, and it's definitely everyone's least favorite part of being alive and being a human being is when you're trying to find a job and you have to interview and edit your resume and make cover letters and be like, I love this company. Hopefully, no one's listening to this that I'm trying to get a job with, but there's just nothing worse than having to talk about yourself and try to sell yourself professionally. That did not sound good. Yeah, I just hate interviews. I hate the whole process. I hate sending in emails. I hate filling in your information over and over again. And I've used all the apps and it doesn't make it easy. Well, it does make it easier, but still there's a lot of, anyways, it is not, I'm tired. Me tired. Me very, very tired. Me need nap. Me no get nap today. Me woman. Why me have to work? Me don't know. It's really just reconfirmed how much I would love to just be a stay-at-home mom. But a woman must work in this economy. Anyways, I'm excited. I'll let you guys know how that goes, I guess. Well, maybe I won't. I don't know. Maybe I will. Maybe I won't. Anyways, my sister's pregnant. She announced on her Instagram. So, woohoo! I'm going to get another little baby, and I'm very excited. I don't think she revealed the gender yet. I know the gender of her baby, and you don't, and you won't for a long time. I actually don't know if she announced what she's having yet, but I'm very excited to have another little baby to hold and to cuddle up to and to love on. I'm obsessed with babies now. I never really was a baby. That sounds weird, like a baby person because I never really had my own family's baby to love, but it's way different now. I've realized she has definitely stepped into the role of being pregnant though and being very much an older sister, I guess is the word. Very BOSSY and BRATTY. I'm just kidding. I'm kidding. She's a great sister, whatever. Sheesh. But she is my sister and she's my older sister. So unfortunately, I have made a fool of myself again. And I was at the park with my nephew and he was playing with trucks. While he was playing with the trucks, this other little kid comes in and he kind of takes one of the trucks away. At first, my nephew was like, what the heck? But he was like sweet about taking it away anyways. And I was like, that's okay. We can share. And the nanny or the mom came up and was like, oh, I'm so sorry. And telling the kid to give the truck back. And I was like, oh, no, it's okay. He has like 20 million trucks. What is up with the 20 million? What is up with the 20 million? If you haven't listened to my previous episode that talks about this, let me give you a recap. I have a weird thing that I do that I don't do consciously or on purpose, but whenever I have to say that something costs a lot or that they have a lot of something, I don't just say like, yeah, he has like 50 of them or an accurate number. I say something in the billions, millions, probably trillions. And I did it before at Sprouts. Someone was like, oh, it's a good discount. They're usually so expensive. And then I said, yeah, they usually cost $50 billion. And I have found a pattern that usually once I say that, when I highball it, that's usually when the conversation dies down or when it ends, when the other person just goes silent. Unfortunately, I did do that again, and it was just as embarrassing as the first 20 times I've done it. I don't know why I do it. I think I just like the drama of it. I'm going to get into what we're talking about for the actual episode later, but for now I'm just doing life updates. Unfortunately, recently I have felt incredibly inflamed and puffy. I feel as though I've gained 50 pounds. I think I've probably only gained a couple pounds. That's kind of discouraging, but I think it's just because I've eaten a ton of sugar. Like a ton of sugar the past couple of weeks. And I normally don't eat sugar throughout the week. I only eat it on the weekends. I don't know why. It just has felt like I've eaten sugar all the time. And every time I eat sugar like that, I feel so puffy. People probably wouldn't even notice, or maybe people do. I just feel huge and it's not comfortable. I don't feel healthy. I feel very unhealthy. So I'm going to have to stop eating the sugar throughout the week and only eat it on the weekends and just be better to my body in that way. But sugar is probably one of the hardest things to kick for me. I love candy and I don't eat a lot of it, but the past couple weeks for some reason I feel like there's always like a cake I have or I have someone's candy or something happened and I have this in my fridge, and so when I'm like, I don't want to cook anything, I just eat that. It's so terrible. So bad for me, but we're all human. We all do it every once in a while, and I don't think there's anything bad with eating chocolate or candy, but I just don't like eating it throughout the week because it replaces like actually good nutritious meals for me, which is not good. So that's a random fact about my health. Another thing that's random is I have been painting more. I used to paint years ago for like every single day consistently, and I actually got pretty good. But it's been a while for me since I've done it consistently again. So I'm kind of getting back into it because I want to set up a couple paintings in my new studio and I want to paint them. But every one that I've done I hate, and I can't pick a theme. I can't pick a style that I want to do that would look cute in my apartment. And so now I have 2 unfinished projects. And of course, I just went and bought a third one, like a third canvas at Goodwill. So now I have 3 unfinished canvases with no end in sight for them. I just jump from one thing to the next. It's very hard for me to just do one thing. And with my paintings, I also drew a stupid little, so stupid. It's just a stupid little ghost painting that I drew for Halloween. 2 seconds. Not impressive. I know, you're not impressed. I'm not impressed with myself either. I really want to get good at painting and drawing. I like that stuff, but I'm not naturally gifted. So it kind of makes me have a love-hate relationship with painting and drawing. But it's a good thing to, I love it though. So I'm not going to stop doing it just because I'm not that good. But I will keep going, and you guys will see. Oh, don't you see? If you doubt me, just wait 25 years. I'll be able to draw the perfect anime character with very simple features and basic hair. Back to what I said at the beginning about interviewing. I physically cringe after every single interview I've had. I cannot help myself. I physically cringe. Specifically the past 2 that I've had, I literally will scream cringe. Like, bleh! Like, bleh, 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 bleh. Like, just weird. It's like I get a burst of energy and I have to just scream or cringe or say something right after the call ends to get the weird cringy energy out of my body. Okay, that's it for my life updates. I'm very excited to get into the main topic and the main meat of the episode, which is let yourself be happy. I feel kind of hypocritical talking about this today because I've been so hard on myself today. Life is so up and down that I feel sad for an hour and a half. The next 3 hours, I'm euphoric. I'm very excited about life. I feel very confident and I feel happy and filled, and and all of that stuff. But then the next day something small or big could happen, then I'm right back to being sad. And I think there's nothing wrong with that. That's just a part of life. And I've learned to just flow with that. But I think sometimes we don't let ourselves be happy. We don't give ourselves permission to enjoy the good times and enjoy what we have and enjoy what we are and enjoy who we're with, because we're worrying or we just feel guilty for being happy almost. I think it's normal to feel guilty. I think especially now with everything going on in the world, and there's so much violence and hatred and all this yucky stuff going on, and it is really sad. So if you have a pretty cushy life, I think it's normal to feel guilty. Not that that means you're doing anything wrong though, but I think that guilt is kind of just like a healthy way of just being like, I know that I'm lucky and I'm so grateful, and it's a chance to be grateful and to do as much as you can to help in whatever way you can with whatever's around you. But I think chronic guilt and chronically not letting yourself enjoy what you have just totally impedes the enjoyment of your life and makes life feel very meaningless. I've learned how hard it is to trust in happiness and trust in good feelings, because I've been so attached to bad feelings lately. And when I feel something good, I'm so scared of it leaving that it almost leaves faster. I don't know. I'm like, maybe I just need to, when those emotions come and when I feel good or peaceful or just calm and I'm not worrying about anything. And my OCD sometimes just is kind of gone. And I've just learned to not click into the thoughts and go that path. But it almost creates more stress to just let myself be happy. So I've worked on giving myself permission to be peaceful and to be happy. Just because I'm happy or just because I'm and joyful and happy feel different to me, but I think letting myself be grateful and joyful helps me be kinder to people, helps me be more grateful and actually want to help other people more. When I've noticed that I don't ever let myself be happy, even in happy moments, I'm so resentful towards other people who are happy. I'm resentful towards good situations, and I'm just, a bitter poopy pants. But when I'm let myself be happy and when I let go of this need to be almost cynical, because it's either protects me or I think that it's responsible to be cynical, but it's really not. Giving yourself permission to be happy just totally change your perspective, because then when the sad times come, honestly, I can feel the sadness more, and it helps my emotions just keep flowing, if that makes sense. I've also just been so hard on myself recently. This past week, I'm also PMSing, so that could be it as well. I have been so hard on myself recently, where I've been thinking how I'm failing at everything, like every aspect of my life. I think that I'm failing in sometimes. I struggle to allow people to love me as is, being imperfect. I feel really guilty when people love me, because I'm like, well, I'm not perfect. Like I will probably do something that hurts you, and I'll probably do something that's frustrating or annoying and not funny. And I'm really insecure about that. There's so many people in my life that already, it's not like they don't know that. Do you know what I mean? It's really stupid of me to think that they don't know that already. But it's just because I've been extra hard on myself, and I don't allow myself to really be loved in the way that I deep down know that I deserve to be loved. So just been super hard on myself, and I just think I never try hard enough, and I feel like I'm not improving. I've struggled a lot with being, like very rigid almost in my way of thinking. And I just felt like I wasn't getting better at that. I was really discouraged this week because I just was scared that I have made no improvement on anything, and I was kind of beating myself up for it. But so I went to a coffee shop because I love working at coffee shops. You will catch me going to coffee shops to work probably 3 times a week, because I like the vibe. I get so much work done because there's an ambiance and there's people, but I don't have to talk to them and they don't talk to me. So I just get to put on my headphones, not even listening to music a lot of the time, and I just focus and get a bunch of stuff done. I was at the coffee shop and I open up my laptop. I'm working. I'm trying to prepare for an interview that I had a couple of hours, which, by the way, they did not ask me a single question that I had prepared for. So, of course, that's how it went. I'm in a wishy-washy mood. I've been real wishy-washy today. But I opened my notes app to write some notes in there, and I see this note that just says, things I need to work on for my relationship. Any conversation that we have that he wants me to work on something or focus on something so that we both can be happier in the relationship. I have horrible memory and I love him, but I need to write it down so I can look at it, or else that will just go like right over my head. But I want to work on it. And that was a long time ago that I had written that down. And I forgot that I had that in there, of course. But I was looking through what I had written down. The first one was, I'm not going to go through all of them, but the first one was cuddle more and just be more like physically affectionate. Not in that way, but I've just never been good at receiving physical touch or expressing through hugs or cuddles. I don't know if that's just something I'm not used to and I don't really care that much about, or if there's a reason for that. I don't know, don't care, but I just don't love physical touch that much. But he's a big physical touch guy. So after reflecting on if I've actually been better at that, I can fully say I have tried so much harder and I've been so much better at cuddling, at being the first one to initiate cuddling. Or we're not married, so nothing crazy, but I've been just way more, I feel, affectionate towards him. It still might not be exactly what he's wanting or the perfect amount, but I know I have been so much better and at least have allowed myself to soften my heart to do that more and take initiative instead of just pushing him away. So that made me feel a lot better because I was able to actually see that I have improved. And then the other note was not taking everything so personally. And that one for sure I have been better at, because I used to take everything that he used to say would trigger me. I mean, some things still do, but they would trigger me and I would just listen to that and I would get so defensive. I'd be so angry with him. I'm like, he's just like everyone else and he's gonna blah, 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 blah. And I wouldn't listen to what he's saying and just take everything personally. And I have improved on that so much. And again, not perfect, and I still sometimes do, but it's so much less than it used to be. And that's the goal, right? Is like, none of us are going to be perfect. So it's just getting better and better and better. I've felt so much more at peace in our relationship because of just trying these small things. I needed to see that so that I was able to show myself and prove to myself, like, you actually do what you say you're going to do, and you're not perfect at that. But if someone wants you to work on something, you will work on something. And that's just an example of how hard we can be on ourselves if we're not focusing on things we've actually improved on, because we're still focused on what we could be and where we could be eventually. But the sweet person that you are now, you're trying your best. I promise, you are trying your best and you're doing so good. There's probably a part of you that hates being talked to like that because it sounds like I'm talking to you as a kid, which is not the intention. It's just from one person to another. And maybe you're more of a gentle person, like a gentle spirit or sensitive. But I think everyone needs to know that they're doing their best and that they're doing a really good job, because I actually think that's what motivates me to do better and get the results that I actually want, rather than, the opposite and just being mean to myself. Oh, so I'm really grateful. I saw that note, because I probably would have just kept bagging on myself. But that gave me, I feel like that was God's way of saying, you're being so hard on yourself and you're doing fine. And it was just comforting, because I just always feel like I'm one step away from losing everything that I care about. That's probably OCD. Every once in a while I have a hard day where I just feel like everything comes crashing in, as we all do. And the other day that was it for me. And I don't know, it just made me think how hard probably everyone listening is on themselves, and just everyone. I think it's beautiful that we have an innate want and desire to be better, to work hard, to be better. and to work on things to help others, to help ourselves. But when there's no self-compassion and no allowing us to just be as we are now too, that is just going to be miserable, and that's just exhausting, because I don't think we were created to just be guilt tripped the whole time. And I don't think we were created just to be worker bees. I believe, and what I felt is that, we were created to be loved. It's hard to accept that because there's so much craziness, it feels like, and there's a lot going on all the time, which is why I really believe in just being more gentle with ourselves, and sometimes just not making ourselves too busy to not be able to feel that as we are enough already, and we are loved as we are. Some people hear you are enough now, as in you should never change anything and you're perfect as you are. That's not what I mean by you are enough. I think when I say to people, when I would teach yoga and I'd say, these mantras or these affirmations at the end or the beginning or the middle of class or whenever, I would say you are enough. In this moment, you don't need to change anything. You don't need to change anything. And I think that was really hard for people to sit with, because we do have a part of us that really does want to work on ourselves and change and do better. But then we have this other part of ourselves that's so exhausted, because if we're not giving ourselves that love and that compassion and that gentle, like slowing things down, and we're okay to just be sometimes, then that part of us that's working on ourselves is going to get burnout. You know what I mean? That's how it feels for me, at least. You're already enough as you are, as you were created, to be loved, to be supported, to be helped, to create, to love, all of those things. Just don't be too hard on yourselves, like I am sometimes. And if you are, then join the club and we'll learn together. I've actually been so much better though with that. It's always been a thing I've struggled with, but I have seen improvement on my end from being more compassionate to myself. But I fall into the same old habits every once in a while. Usually when I'm PMSing, unfortunately, that I get very hard on myself and beat myself up a little bit, or a lot of it. You're not irresponsible for being happy in happy moments. You're not irresponsible for being at peace and letting yourself not worry. I think worrying doesn't equal caring about something. Sometimes I see people say stuff like that, and I get it, but I don't know. I think just for me, it makes my life so much more peaceful and joyful when I don't think worrying equals caring about something. I mean, worry is inevitable, and everyone's going to worry about some things every once in a while, but I think for me, my faith just really helps with that. If you're not sure how to be kinder to yourself or be less harsh and less hard on yourself, I think a really good way is to physically hug yourself. I did that a lot. I still do that a lot. And it's almost like gentle parenting yourself. I mean, I had great parents, but I think still as an adult, you have different parts to you. And there's still some that, even if it wasn't from your childhood and it's from adulthood, that are a little bit brokenhearted and damaged, and that's okay. I think it's a good thing to gentle parent or just comfort that part. I think hugging yourself physically, giving yourself a hug and saying, I know this is hard, and I know you feel like you've done nothing good and you feel as though everything's falling apart, and I know it sometimes feels that way and things get frustrating, but do you remember when you used to be this way and now you're not that way? Yeah, hug yourself, tell yourself that you're okay and you have your back. I always tell myself I have your back. I literally say I have your back, I'm here. And just saying I'm here, I think allows for feelings for me to come up, and they feel safe. They feel like they can come and they can leave. And another great way is just to kind of what I did is to write down things you're working on so that later on you can see if you've accomplished that. If you haven't, okay, you know what? That's okay. We've all taken steps backwards in our lives, but you know what? I promise you, somewhere in your past, you were able to step up and change something, start different habits, and everyone's able to restart at any moment. Just keep restarting. Don't give up on restarting. Give yourself affirmations. writing down notes, things you're working on so you can go back and see what you've accomplished. I think also you can ask people around you who love you and who know what you struggle with and have seen you overcome things. You can ask them and tell them, hey, I'm really struggling because I feel like I don't do anything right and everything I do fails. And they will, I promise you, they'll have something to say about that and help you. But you should learn to try to do that as much with yourself as you can. So don't be hard on yourself. You're not too much. You're not more broken than anyone else. You know, we're all broken. If you mess up, if you disappoint yourself, pick yourself back up and just do baby steps. You got this. Okay, all done with that. Yeah. Let's do a Dear Abby. And then I do have a call today, an interview that I will do for a job live on my podcast. I'm kidding.
Dear Abby, I really enjoy listening to your podcast. I listen to it on my way to school and work, and it's been a big help to me, someone who struggles with OCD and anxiety myself. But I did have a question for you. One, do you ever feel like, I don't know, at least for me, let me start this with saying this. For me, my compulsion is confessing. So I confess a lot of my thoughts. But do you ever feel like sometimes you become really anxious about not just like your thoughts and like your things that are going up in your head, but actual actions that you have? For me, I struggle a lot with confessing my thoughts, but also having to confess like my actions if I didn't do or say something or act in a certain way. And how do you overcome that? So anyway, I've been really struggling, but your podcast has helped. So I appreciate that. Thanks.
Okay, that's a great question. I'm trying to think of a good answer because this is tricky. And I'm not a therapist, just as a reminder. I am not a therapist. So this is just my own personal experience. I have never struggled really badly with confession to where that's my main compulsion is to confess. But I have struggled with it in the past when I was younger, I think. And I did it when I had really bad relationship OCD. I would tell my mom and my sister and about my relationship and is it normal to think this way? And sometimes I think about, for a while, my body made it feel like I was repulsed by my boyfriend. And that was so confusing because I was like, what? Like, why am I repulsed by him? I mean, to be fair, he is a guy, so sometimes they can be repulsive, but it was actually extremely, like, painful to the point where I couldn't even look at him sometimes and I would just try to avoid. And I would confess that because I felt so bad and I didn't trust myself enough to just trust that whatever decision I make will be out of good judgment and the best that I can do, and to trust that that's okay. I didn't trust that. So I needed to confess in order to get that, sometimes not even to get reassurance, to get them to say, oh, that's normal. It was just to get it out there. You know, I didn't always actually need reassurance. It was mostly just so I could get it out there. So I felt like I could move on from it. And I've learned now that I don't actually need to do that in order to move on from something and to know if it's real or if I should be concerned about it or not. I just, you start to gain, through therapy, I've started to gain just trust with myself. And a great way is just exposure, obviously. That's the golden standard, golden treatment, whatever, for OCD. So whenever you feel like you have an urge and you think this time is different, or, well, maybe this isn't OCD because I've always had this thought or, this concern or something, just sit with that. And if that's really hard, because if this is something that's, very, very hard and is really engraved, then something I do with my compulsions that are hard, something that I did when my compulsions were harder to avoid, and I sometimes still do this when OCD tries to latch again, is I say, okay, that's a great point. That's a great thing. Maybe I should confess this, and maybe I do need to get this off my chest in order to move on. But I'm going to do it in 2 days. I'll do it in 2 days. And then you move on and then you do whatever you were doing, or you get busy with something else, or maybe if it's really heavy, you just sit with that and you don't say a word. But that was really helpful for me, was just to almost put off the rumination or put off the confession. And then when it comes back and it's, been 2 days, you think, okay, no, I'm going to do it in 2 more days. And for me, that was helpful, just to put space in between, when my compulsions would happen. So that way it just gets longer and longer and it has less and less control over you and it's less and less of focus. And then I think another thing was when I struggled with confessing to church leaders about things that I had done, I always thought about, well, I left out this detail. Maybe this detail is really important. Or I didn't say this right, so I have to go back and tell him this and this detail. And maybe he wouldn't have said what he said if he knew about this like small, tiny detail or something. And looking back, I didn't know it was OCD, but looking back, that's what it was, because I kept going back and back and back, because I'd go home and I'd feel good, but then a couple days later I'd be like, no, there's still something wrong. It didn't take that feeling away, so I need to go back. If that were to happen to me again, well, I don't think I'd fall for it, first of all, because now I know what it is. But I'd also probably internally just say to myself, maybe I'll have to feel like this forever, and maybe I will feel guilty, or maybe I will feel like I'm not a good enough person and feel shame my whole life. And maybe I'll feel this way my whole life. But I'm just going to assume maybe this is OCD. And so I'm not going to give it any energy right now. That's all I can think of right now for confession. What really helped me was making voice memos for myself. And one of them was like, I used to ruminate a lot about just like really crazy questions that I had. And I'd always say, I'd be like, hey, if you're listening to this, then you're tempted and maybe you've already started a rumination and you're thinking about this and you're trying to find all these answers. And I'm just here to tell you, you will never figure it out. You will never, ever, ever figure it out. Okay? So there's no point in trying. There's no point in trying to figure it out. You will never get to where your brain wants you to get. And that's, even saying that, I get stressed out again, because that's not fun to hear. Our brains don't like that. That's the whole point. But sitting with that like spike of anxiety is where we will find peace eventually. Easier said than done, I know. Thank you so much for the question. I love when you guys send voicemails in so I can hear you. I am running out of Dear Abby questions though, so please send them in. You guys can also text them to the number. The number is always down in the description of each episode, and I don't have it memorized off the top of my head right now, but I think it's like 9, whatever. But it's always on the episode notes, so you guys can text that number, you can call and leave a voicemail, either or, but I would love a voicemail. Okay, you guys, guess what time it is? It's time to invite one of my dearest frenemies onto the show today. So let's give a round of applause to my brother Clay. I told him I was calling, so he should know that this is happening.
Hello?
Hey.
What's up?
That doesn't even sound... You sound different on the phone than you do when we play Apex. I thought I called the wrong number for a second.
Oh. Well, I don't know. Different mics.
Well, you're officially on the podcast, so round of applause for Clay, everyone. I'll insert a sound. Just kidding. I actually don't know how to do that yet. Okay, so usually how this works is I'll ask you a question that someone asked me, but the last question was about OCD specifically, so I don't think that's your area of expertise. So I'm just going to ask you different questions, if that's okay.
Okay. Yeah,
okay.
shoot.
Okay, just so everyone knows, Clay is my older brother, and he is the only brother that wants to spend any time with me and play Apex with me, so.
I just have no one else to play with.
Awesome. Awesome.
I'm just joking. All right.
Okay, so these are like rapid fire questions, so just answer them fast.
First thing?
Yeah. Be honest, do you think I'm a good Apex player? Like, do you like playing with me?
You're better than you were. Yes.
It is true. Not exactly the answer I was looking for, but that's okay.
Okay.
What is your favorite setting for like a fantasy book?
Like, just like in general, like favorite.
If it's like a kingdom and it's like the, I don't know, 1600s or just any kind of fantasy or something book, what is your favorite setting?
Like, just medieval, and like there's like a little village, and it's like really grassy around it. If that's what it's picturing, or if that what it puts into my head, then that's what I want.
Okay.
That's my favorite.
Okay. What have you ever gone viral online?
No, never.
Really? Didn't like a video? Well, I guess it didn't go viral, but tells me like a bachelor video for you.
Yeah. Well, see I was in the video, but it wasn't my video. I wouldn't say it was viral though. I mean, it was like
semi-viral.
It was semi-viral. I mean, it got like 100,000 views or something like that, but everyone's forgotten about it. I don't remember my name.
No one sends you DMs anymore.
But I guess so, yeah. Yeah, okay.
Like if you're going on a first date, where do you usually take your date? Speaking of.
Dinner. It's a short date, like an hour long. It's a dinner, and just to make sure that I get along with them before I even think about doing anything else.
Yeah, that's a good date.
Well, and you don't want to put either of you in a position where it's like, oh, like I have to be here for like another hour on this huge
that's always
date,
the worst.
And we don't get along, so.
Especially when they're not hot, you know what I mean?
Okay. Wow. Okay, I'm just in it for the personality, but.
Have you ever worn socks with sandals?
With slips, not like sandals. Like
with
those slips, is that what they're called? Like the sliders. Sliders, that's what they're called, not slips. Sliders.
Oh. You've worn socks with those?
Yeah, like, not like, I don't put the socks on so that I can wear the sliders. I like, if I already have socks on.
Oh.
Then I'm sure
you don't take them off to put the sliders on.
No, am I supposed to?
No. No, it's just.
Oh, okay.
It's just as long as it's not a common thing, you know.
Yeah, but that's more like if I have to take something out, like to the trash or something. I would say in public, I've never worn socks with any kind of open-toed shoes.
Okay. Okay, that's good. Do you have any tattoos that the family doesn't know about?
No. I do not.
That would be funny. I secretly wish that everyone says yes, so then I can learn something.
Just a full back head, too.
Yeah.
That's why I haven't swam with you guys in years.
Okay. Do you think you'd make a good spy?
No.
Really? Why? I thought you would say yes.
If I'm in danger, I feel like I would not have a good poker face.
Mm.
I feel like my face would flush and I get bright red.
Yeah. Yeah, that's I think that's how I would be too. I think everyone would like to think that they'd make a good spy, but yeah,
I think that I could be a good guy that's in the earpiece of the spy.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
It's like, do this, blah, blah, you know.
So you'd be like the person behind the camera and all the gear set up.
Yeah.
With like the 5 screens. Outside. Okay, I think I know the answer to this one. This is one that I have. It says work or play. Like, which do you prefer?
Play.
Salty or sweet?
Sweet.
Is there a movie that you quote more than any other movie?
Yes.
What movie?
Well, it's either between Star Wars, Revenge of the Sith, or Phantom of the Opera.
Okay. Phantom of the Opera. That I relate to that one. Even it's just what is it? 15,000 francs. I don't know. That's one that I say all the time.
I like that. Well, I shan't keep you late. And then you get this little squeaky laugh.
It's the way that they talk.
The only reason why I would say Star Wars is because I yell liar, like in Star Wars all the time.
Yeah.
And probably too much. It's not funny, but it's a habit.
Yeah. Okay, 3 more. This one's more not like serious, but it's more serious. Do you believe in second chances, like with people?
Yes.
Okay.
Because I need second chances, so I have to believe in them.
Yeah, I literally always say yes to that. I'm like, it's crazy if people say no. Do you have like a movie, book, or TV show that feel like it changed your life? Not like that dramatically, but like that made you like rethink something?
A movie, book, or TV show?
Yeah.
That changed my life.
I don't feel like I have one that like changed. I have ones that maybe made me think about things a little bit differently, but not one that changed my life.
No, I don't think any have changed my life dramatically where I was a different person after having consumed it. I'd have to think about it.
What was your last impulse buy?
My last impulse buy, I bought those headphones that I use. I was thinking about saving up for them, and then I had gotten a bunch of stuff for my computer, and I was like, you know what, let's just complete the ensemble, and I just splurged on it. They were not cheap.
I feel like you're not really an impulsive buyer, though. Like you're saying you kind of save up and then you buy a bunch of stuff. Maybe that's impulsive.
It's impulsive because, so I don't really want a lot of stuff, but when I want something really badly, I'm pretty impulsive with it. So I just don't, it's just lucky that I don't really like want things a lot, you know?
Yeah, that's true. Okay, sorry, this is actually the last one. Which celebrity annoys you the most? I know you're not like a celebrity guy, like you don't really care about pop culture, but is there a celebrity that just bugs you for some reason?
Yes.
Wait, is it Timothée Chalamet? Or no?
No,
Just
he's not
that
the
people
greatest.
think he's like hot is what bugs you.
I didn't like him in Dune because they made him all like he could beat people up, and he was so small. But not particularly. Oh my gosh, there is someone, but I cannot, for the life of me,
remember their name.
Think of them right now
What
on the spot. But there is someone, and they drive me nuts.
Do you know if are they an actor, or are they like a singer?
No. What's the guy's name that he's like he's very polarizing. What did he just do recently? Oh, he dated Kim Kardashian. What was his name?
Oh, Pete Davidson?
Yes, that's him. I feel like everyone's hater love on him, but yeah, he's just not funny, and it just bugs me that everyone loves him so much. It's like when people just like rave about him, I'm like, oh my gosh, like that dude has never made me laugh. And like I don't see the appeal if he's good looking or not. So
yeah.
So I guess that'd be one. There's a few though.
Yeah, I don't think Pete Davidson is that like good looking. I think he just is like kind of fake confident or like confident, you know, which maybe, but yeah, I don't find him attractive, so I don't really get it either, to be honest.
I'm sure he's a decent guy. I just don't see the
As
appeal.
a comedian, you don't really think he's funny, so you're like, eh.
And as a fellow comedian,
please.
No, I'm just
as a connoisseur of sorts when it comes to comedy. Okay. Well, that's it. So thanks for being my frenemy. And who is your favorite sister? I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. Please don't answer that.
You're in the
Chelsea's
top 2.
Pregnant, so
you're in the top 2.
Wow, top 2.
Yeah, I forgot why you were calling. I was like, why is Abby calling me? Why didn't you just text me? But I forgot that you had told me.
Yeah.
That you were going to call me.
I know. I called a little bit later than I thought because I got recording later. But thanks for being on the show. And
thanks for having me.
Well, we'll have you on again sometime in the next couple of months once I make my rounds.
Yeah, we'll see. Chelsea has yet to try to even attempt to bring me onto her podcast. I think I've been blacklisted.
I think they should do they should stream a D&D session as you as a dungeon master on their podcast.
Oh boy.
I think that would be good.
It would be good. I wouldn't be able to listen to it. I'd be cringing so hard at myself.
Yeah. I don't like listening to myself. I don't think anyone likes listening. Well, that's not true. I'm sure some people do, but we could also just
there are people who love the sound of their own voice, that's for sure.
Yeah, you could just get those voice changers maybe, and one that turns you into a girl, a guy, if that's the part that you hate doing. But I actually like your impressions.
If it was all online,
yeah,
I could do that. Yeah, that's true.
But anyways, I think they should do that. And if they won't, then I will.
Or you can just make your own channel.
Yeah, that's true. Channel. Coming soon, hopefully. I really do want to have a streaming D&D group.
Yeah, it'd be fun.
That would be really fun.
It would have a different feel to it because it'd be like a show as much as it is like a game. Yeah. So it'd be kind of different. Cool. Well, thanks for having me on.
Thanks for being on. Love ya.
Love you too. Bye.
Bye. What a guy. I'm telling you, he's my favorite brother. I'm kidding. You guys, I have 4 brothers. They're all my favorites in different ways. Something about Clay is he has the best recommendations for shows, TV, anything. Honestly, any content. I trust anything that he sends my way. But I don't watch all of them. I don't watch most of them, to be honest. But every time I do, and I actually listen and I heed his advice, I'm never disappointed. Okay, well, that's it for today's episode, you guys. Thank you so much for listening. I love you guys so much. Bye! 우회전 taking a ride to journey 눈치 보면서 들어가 할 때 찾아 나머진 바빠 개설레임 바꾸는 사람들 시간만 지나가 자신감 가지고 해와 그냥